Okay, so moving on, part 3. My first few days in the program. I got there on January 25th after being held for 2 days at Lynn Pretzfield's house. I found out her name, Lynn Pretzfield, who was convicted of racketeering. For $8,500, she will shackle your child to a door and hold him for a day or two before sending him off to Jamaica. But anywho, I got there on the 25th of January, 1 month and 1 day shy of my 17th birthday. When I got there, I was taken to a nurse. We called her Nursey. I was taken to see Nursey, and I was made to strip search, completely naked. Had to do the whole bend over, squat, cough. She put her fingers in my vagina and in my butthole to search for contraband. For someone who has been severely sexually assaulted, that was incredibly traumatizing. I was given my uniforms and placed with my family and placed with my buddy, April Adams. Went on my day. Well, I think it was more close to evening by this point. And so I was with my buddy and with the family for about a day or so before I got so many consequences that I had to go to study hall, which study hall was where you basically had to write a 5,000-word essay in a matter of 3 hours to be able to get out of study hall. So I was in study hall, and I was kind of having a mental breakdown, and I struggled a lot with self-mutilation, and I was a cutter at the time, and so I informed the staff that I felt like I was on the verge of cutting myself, and they put me in staff watch. In staff watch, you are made to lay on your stomach with your ankles crossed and your arms crossed behind your back and your chin pressed into the concrete floor. And there's nothing more between you and the floor and a towel. And you have to lay like that all day long, and you can't move. You can't do anything, really, without permission, or you get consequented and you stay in there longer. And the worst part about it is that you have to raise your hand to ask for permission to do anything, but there's also a consequence called moving without permission. So you're constantly being punished for doing what you're supposed to do to ask for permission so that they can keep you in staff watch longer, because that's where they make a lot of money. Basically, they make about 10 times the daily amount when a child is in staff watch versus when they're with a family. And this is all about money. That's all it's ever about. Well, and, unregulated access to children for pedophiles. So I was in staff watch with a couple different people at the time. I was in staff watch with Shannon Levy-Crowley and Sonny Walsdorf. And while I was in there, a girl named Jill Hemmelfarb came to the program. She arrived a day after me, and she ended up being in staff watch later, and that will come into play. But while I was in staff watch that first day, Shannon, she had been in staff watch for so long already, and had been forced to lay on her hips on her stomach for so long already that she had massive sores on her hip bones, because she was kind of skin and bones as was. And they were trying to make her lay down, and she was refusing. So she basically, I'm going to short down the whole story from what I saw. Basically, she was standing up, and some staff came and swept her feet out from underneath her and tried to take her physically down to the ground to restrain her. And when they did, they slammed her face into the ground and busted her chin open right around in here. And there was blood everywhere, and she was bleeding, and just blood everywhere, screams, restraining. I'm sitting here, this is my second day, I'm just watched this girl's face get busted open, and now the staff are sitting on top of her while blood is pouring out of her face, and they're restraining her because she's freaking out, because she's just been assaulted and injured and severely hurt. And instead of seeking medical care for her, they caused more pain to her and hurt her more. She was not treated properly. They did not seek medical care for her properly. She ended up getting a massive infection in her jaw. It started eating away at her jaw. Several months later, she was moved to another program where she became even more injured. I'm not privy to all of those details, but I'm familiar with her story because she's my sister and we've talked about it. And you can also see her story on the, I think it's Locked in Paradise BBC documentary. She's very prominently featured in there. She's been on Montel Jordan way back in the day too. Or Montel Williams, whatever that show was. The talk show, not the singer. You know, she's now pretty much incapacitated because of her jaw. So I say that the program killed her on January 25th. 26th, really. And she's been slowly dying ever since then. So I encourage you to look her up and do anything you can to help her out. She's got a lot of medical debt and a lot of issues that aren't her fault. They were caused by the programs. Another murder was Jill Himmelfarb. We lost Jill last year to a heroin overdose. She had been struggling with heroin since she got sent to the programs. While she was in there, the day after I saw Shannon's face get busted open, Jill got sent to staff watch, and she was in there, and she was getting a refusal, and they started restraining her, and she's very, very short, very small girl. She was about 5'1". So they're restraining her, and they ended up breaking her clavicle. Like, I could hear it snap, and she starts shrieking, and you could kind of see where the bone had been broken through her shoulder. And they ended up taking her eventually to the doctor, and she spent many months in an arm sling. But she would later have that clavicle rebroken, I think 2 more times on top of that first one. So a total of 3 times she would have that clavicle broken. And she went to the program, she graduated the program, and her parents ended up sending her back. It's the worst thing in the world. And when she died, they made a post, and I didn't say anything, but this is me saying something now. They made a post specifically talking about how they had sent her to the program twice to try and save her, and they did everything they could. And I know from talking to her over the years that they constantly denied her experience in boarding school and what they paid to have happen to her. So when they went on this holy righteous soapbox of how much they tried, no, Himmelfarbs, you did not try. You let her down from the beginning. And now she's gone. And she was so special. We loved her so much. And she's gone now. So, those are just two of the murders that I witnessed within my first week of being in the programs. And my little one's upset now because she hears me upset. So let me let you guys go.